Hello, third grade. Welcome back. I'm going to be concluding the story of Dr. Dolittle. So we're on chapter 7. And if you remember, the Dr. Dolittle had just escaped from the king because remember, Polynesia snuck under the bed and was throwing his voice and pretending he was the Dr. Dolittle, and he tricked him into letting him go. So now they're running through the woods. So this is called Chapter 7, The Bridge of Apes. The queen had never in her life seen the king so terrible as he got that night. He gnashed his teeth with rage. He threw his toothbrush at the palace cat. He rushed around in his nightshirt and woke up all his army and sent them into the jungle to catch the doctor. Then he made all his servants go too, his cooks and his gardeners, and his barber and Prince Bumpo's tutor. He even made the queen, who was tired from dancing in a pair of tight shoes, go help the soldiers in their search. All this time, the doctor and his animals were running through the forest toward the land of the monkeys as fast as they could go. Gub Gub soon tired, and the doctor had to carry him. This made it pretty hard when they had the trunk and the handbag with them as well. The king of the Jolly Ginky thought his army could find them easily because the doctor was in a strange land and would not know his way. But he was wrong, for Chi-Chi knew all the paths through the jungle. He led the doctor and his pets to the very thickest part of the forest and hid them all in a big hollow tree between high rocks. We had better wait here, said Chi-Chi, till the soldiers have gone back to bed. Then we can go on into the land of the monkeys. So there they stayed the whole night through. They often heard the king's men searching and talking in the jungle, but they were quite safe, for no one knew of that hiding place but Chi-Chi, not even the other monkeys. At last daylight began to come through the thick leaves overhead. Chi-Chi brought the doctor and his animals out of the hiding place, and they set off for the land of the monkeys. It was a long, long way, and they often got very tired. They always had plenty to eat and drink, because Chi-Chi and Polynesia knew all the different kinds of fruits and vegetables that grow in the jungle. They knew where to find the dates and figs and groundnuts and ginger and yams. They knew how to make lemonade out of the juice of wild oranges, sweetened with honey from the bees' nests in hollow trees. At night they slept in tents made of palm leaves on thick, soft beds of dried grass. And after a while they got used to walking such a lot and did not get so tired and enjoyed the life of travel very much. But they were always glad when the night came and they stopped for their resting time. Then the doctor would make a little fire of sticks, and after they had their supper, they would sit around in a ring. Polynesia sang songs about the sea. Chi-Chi told stories of the jungle. One day, Chi-Chi climbed up a high rock and looked out over the treetops. And when he came down, he said they were now quite close to the land of the monkeys and would soon be there. And that same evening, sure enough, they saw Chi-Chi's cousin. They saw a lot of other monkeys swinging in the trees by the edge of a swamp. They had been looking and waiting for them, and then they saw the famous doctor really coming. These monkeys cheered and waved leaves and swung out of their branches to greet him. They wanted to carry his bag and his trunk and everything he had. One of the bigger monkeys even carried Gub Gub. Then two of them rushed on in front to tell the sick monkeys that the great doctor had come at last. But the king's men, who were still following, had heard the noise of the monkeys cheering. They at last knew where the doctor was and ran on to catch him. The big monkey carrying Gub Gub was coming along slowly behind, and he saw the captain of the army sneaking through the trees. So he hurried after the doctor and told him to run. Then they all ran harder than they had ever run in their lives. And the king's men began to run too. The captain ran hardest of all. Chi-Chi shouted, "We haven't far to go now." But before they could get into the land of the monkeys, they came to a steep cliff with a river flowing below. This was the end of the kingdom of Jolly Ginky. The land of the monkeys was on the other side, across the river. And Jip the dog looked down over the edge of the steep, steep cliff and said, "Golly, how are we ever going to get across?" "Oh dear," said Gub Gub. "The king's men are quite close now. Look at them. I'm afraid we are going to be taken back to prison again." And he began to weep. But the big monkey who was carrying the pig dropped him on the ground and cried out at the other monkeys, "Boys, a bridge! Quick, make a bridge! We've only a minute to do it. A bridge! A bridge!" The doctor began to wonder what they were going to make a bridge out of. He gazed around to see if they had any boards hidden any place. But when they looked back at the cliff, there hanging across the river was a bridge all ready for him, made of living monkeys. For while his back was turned, the monkeys, quick as a flash, had made themselves into a bridge just by holding hands and feet. And the big one shouted to the doctor, walk over, all of you, hurry!" Gub Gub was a bit scared to walk on such a narrow bridge at a dizzy height above the river, but he got over all right, and so did all of them. John Dolittle was the last to cross, and just as he was getting to the other side, the king's men came rushing up to the edge of the cliff. Then they shook their fists and yelled with rage, for they saw they were too late. The doctor and all of his animals were safe in the land of the monkeys, and the bridge was pulled across to the other side. Then Chi-Chi turned to the doctor and said, "Many great explorers have hidden in the jungle for weeks hoping to see the monkeys do that trick, but we never let an Englishman see it before. You are the first to see the famous Bridge of Apes." And the doctor felt very pleased. Thanks. Bye.